Oh, alrighty. Okay, let's see. Can anybody hear me? Is this working? Do I actually have I done this right one time? Sound, no sound. Oh, yes! Finally. You don't know how many times it's taken me to try to do this with sound, getting it right on the first try. All right, first, Emmanuel Becalo, congratulations. You are the first one. You are the greatest person ever. I don't know. Hey, Greg, what did you think of the chapter? Evan, the chapter is not out in Japan yet, so I have no comment on the chapter yet. And that is my only comment on that. I apologize for that. And anybody who is here and who reads unofficial release days, please be wary of potential spoilers from people who, knowingly or unknowingly, might spoil something. But I will certainly do my best to try not to spoil you. Yeah, Mega Man or Mega Gamer Man. I'm Subdiviso. That is no problem, Evan. Most people don't realize that at all. I think since the scans changed their release date, some people for some reason are like, oh, okay, so now it releases the same day as Jump. It's like, nah, not yet. You got a couple more days to go. At least I still support them. I support who? I don't support Scanlation, but I do support official releases. Yay! But I don't comment on whether people read Scanlations or not, because that is their own business. That is the act of reading Scanlations. I do not comment on that. Other than that, it's free game. But whatever you do on your own time on your own computer, that is your business, and I don't care. Yes, I see Donut. I got you. So, what I would like to talk about, I don't care what we talk about, but I guess kind of the direction I'd like to go in is, as I tweeted on Twitter, twat. No. As I was questioning earlier, who do you think should be the writer or the director or both of those jobs together for the One Piece live action series? Who do you think that should be? I had a couple interesting reactions. Some people said that I should do it. Not going to happen because I know nothing about directing. I like to make movies. I like to do amateur stuff, but I don't know the first thing about professional. Today is the 10-year. This is from Dalcor. Today is the 10-year anniversary of the day that the Funimation dub came out, which means it's almost been 10 years since I got into One Piece. Well, that is wonderful. Congratulations. Wow, the Funimation dub. 10 years since the Funimation dub. That's insane for me. I mean, if you were like, it's 10 years since the Four Kids, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, it feels about that time. 10 years for the Funimation. Wow, time flies. Let's see. Donut reaction. Let's get the guy who barely knows how to stream to direct the show. Yeah, right? Be a disaster. Let's see. I think it depends on the budget and which country will produce it. It is the U.S. that will be producing it. But do not limit yourself to thinking, oh, because it's U.S., it has to be U.S. people. I don't think that's a good way to think about it. I don't think Oda-san would be approaching it that way either. I would think international. We don't speak for Four Kids or the rep. Certainly not, Andrea. I wonder how Damien suggests. I wonder how the Four Kids dub would have ended up if it made it farther than it got. Can you imagine? Like, okay, this is the thing that is the most. There are edits in it that are weird, right? There's the hammer gun that's famous. There's the Sanji smoking thing, which is obvious. But the weirdest thing for me personally is Luffy's t-shirt as when he's a child. Luffy's t-shirt. What was it? Like the word anchor, the English word anchor was removed from it. And it's just like, why? Like, okay, you don't want Sanji smoking, you don't want violence, you don't want sexiness. Okay, whatever, fine, I get it. But anchor? What? I have no idea. That is just the most perplexing thing that has happened in the entire series to me in terms of editing. Brook would have been reunited with a glacier. So yeah, this One Piece live action series is happening, whether you like it or not. So you have two choices, and that is you can be a grump about it and change nothing and just be a grump, or you can try to be positive about it, hope for the best, and let the people involved know what you're thinking and what you would like. Because if there's one thing I know about Oda-san, it's that he likes to listen to fans. And he does read every letter that comes in. Whether he can understand it or not, he peruses them. Of course, he will not understand, if you write War and Peace in English and send it to him. But some simple sentences. Get a friend of yours that maybe speaks Japanese to help with it. I will not help with that stuff, sorry. I'm an adult now, so if you want that kind of help from me, you need to pay for it. Sorry. But no, if you have a friend that does it, work with them. Have them help you with it. Learn it yourself. Pick it up a little bit. Get a dictionary and even write out the words. He will definitely read your fan letter. But yeah, it's important not only with the live action series, but with the series itself. If there's something you're not happy with, it doesn't mean he's going to change it. But if you want to let him know how you're feeling or how something has hit you, go for it. Let's see. Damien shares one of his experiences with the 4Kids edits, and he says, "For me, nothing beat Captain Kuro being executed by firing squad, but with water guns." It's like he still got shot to death, but with water guns. See, like that's weird. That is weird, Andrea. But it's like, okay, it's odd and strange, whatever. But it's like it's violence. But it's like anchor. The word anchor. It's a word. It's not even a bad word. It's on a t-shirt. It's not. Anyway, the evil Roanite. Am I pronouncing that right, Roanite? I keep thinking, when I see your name, I think like Roanoke, Virginia, and I know it's not spelled the same way, but I just get that in my mind. But is it Roanite? I hope so. Rohanite. I've seen your name up here a few times now. So, 4Kids mirror Sanji in the Tsuzushing Woods would have had a cigarette to show that smoking is evil. Okay, yep. Andrea wishes she could send Oda-san something. You can. Just do it. Even like, I love One Piece. That's what I did years ago. I was just like, I love One Piece. I heart OP. I sent him that with like a picture of an American flag. And yeah, that was it. Damien asks, what's your dream cast for the live action One Piece series? Like, regardless of whether choices could actually happen or not. I would, more than like who it could be, because I kind of want them to be undiscovereds. I just want it to be an international cast, and I do believe that Oda is savvy to that. I don't say I want it to be an international cast because of whitewashing and I'm against this or that, or I think that Hollywood whitewashes too much. It's nothing to do with that. I have no opinion on that. I am opinionatedly androgynous when it comes to that. But regarding why it should be an international cast, it's because our characters do feel like an international cast. It just feels natural for them. They have physical differences. They look different. They speak different languages. And by that I mean, attack names. And sometimes Sometimes Oda makes some mistakes with those. He mixes, Spanish and French. But that aside, they feel like an international cast, and many of them are based on international people, whether it be their personality that has inspired them or informed them, or their design proper. There's that famous SBS where Oda said, "Well, I think Luffy's from Brazil, etc., etc." It doesn't mean we need someone from Brazil to play Luffy, but you need someone with that quote unquote exuberance. Because when Oda says Brazil, what is he thinking? What is the Japanese mindset? What does Brazil mean? All right, and that's important to understand too. And that's he's thinking of Carnival. He's thinking of people who are excited and passionate and just kind of mow forward. Don't care. Is it stereotyping? Again, opinionatedly androgynous. Separated from that point, I am telling you what the Japanese image of these individuals are, and that's the image that he has for Luffy. And I imagine for the rest of them as well. 911 Devil Hunter asks, "Yo, Greg, what time is it for you now?" It is now 10:28 a.m. Richelicia asks, or comments, "The only people that we want to do the live action series are the people that care and understand the spirit of One Piece." Oda-san is on the same page as you. Yes. I would say that he probably wants someone who stylistically can handle the series, who can deal with the kind of hyper real kind of action that the series requires from a live action series. It can't be all goofy, silly, realistic. It has to be that kind of hyper realistic that it's kind of popular around the 300 era. I'm not saying it needs to be 300. I'm saying that's the kind of action that you're going to need for the series. Rona, I've been saying it. Yes. Okay. Dance happiness. That's what I think of Brazil, Andrew, as well. Okay, yes, very passionate, fun too. Dogma D. Hola, Greg. Hola, Dogma D. Josue Waya asks, "Have you ever met Oda?" Yes, I have. Many times. If yes, did he have any reaction about your theories or analysis? Like, say something about them. Yes, on several occasions, and I don't discuss them. I like to discuss these things after they have passed. After they've come out into the story, I have no problem discussing that. But if you've been watching me for a while now, you follow me on Twitter, or you read my column at onepiece.com, or even if you read some of my posts at Arlong Park, you know that I do not comment on any information that I have previous knowledge of, or inside knowledge of. And I try to keep that as a very strict rule. However, his reaction to some of the things that I've said, he will. I guess it depends, like what your level of interaction with him is, or if it's a business relationship, or if it is a quote unquote pleasure relationship. Like if we went out. Okay, so I work on the One Piece website. All right, but that wasn't a direct form of work with him. The website is strictly monitored by the editors who carry Oda's opinion, but it's not working directly with him. So when we ate dinner, I was like, I sat right next to him, and I was just like, this was my second time meeting him, and I was just like, I got to be honest with you, I'm super nervous right now. I was like, what should we talk about? And he's just like, well, he's like, the only thing I don't want to talk about is work. And I was like, cool, let's talk movies. Let's do movies. That'll be fun. And we just talked about movies and what movies we like, what directors we like. It was super fun. It was super cool. Didn't talk about One Piece. flash forward a couple years, I've become slightly more involved with the series, and I've had business level conversations, and in those conversations, if you're like, hey, I think this is going to happen, if he knows there's that level of trust between the two of you, then he might just be like, yeah, yep, that's going to happen. And you're just like, what? So, what was his, I can't tell you what it was, but like one of the things he said to me was just like, what did he say? What did he say? I think it was like, Sasaga Greg, or just like, oh, it's typical Greg or something like that. But not to tip my own hat, because I make a ton of theories. It's like Nostradamus. You vomit all these theories out, and some of them are bound to stick. But sometimes I hit it pretty well. Love you, love you. Hashtag black balls. Oh man, love the black balls. They're so good. Nice to meet you, Greg. I'm Sergi from Twitter. Hey, Sergi. Is this your first time watching, Sergi? I don't know if this is your first time watching or not. Is it? I keep thinking you've been in here before, but I could be completely wrong. Really, it would be awkward to talk about goofy theories with Oda himself, don't you think? Goofy theories? Well, yeah. Like shipping theories. Like I have nothing against if you want to ship someone or if you want to discuss shipping. How every fan enjoys the series is up to them, and that's what makes the series great. But that's probably something I wouldn't want to discuss with them. I don't know. Some people might. Hello from New York. Is that New York? Oh, love New York. Love New Jersey. A lot of people from New York don't like New Jersey, but that's okay. We love you. This is from Abdul. Love hearing that you met Oda many times. For some reason, I'm cheering ear to ear. Adam Fernand, speaking of knowledge you can't comment on, can you at least tell us if you already know what the next Straw Hat is joining the crew after Jinbei? I do not comment on... I'm sorry, Adam. I'm very sorry. If you've watched this many times, you know there's just some stuff where I have to be like, no comment, or I don't comment. I do not talk about crew members in an unofficial capacity. If I'm allowed to talk about them, or like something that I think in a article, that article, everything of mine that hits the official outlets has been strictly vetted. It's been viewed by the anime producers. It's been viewed by the anime directors, the art team, the manga staff, and they look at it very deeply. And so if something comes out that I comment on, like there was a few weeks ago, I made reference to a crew member, and that came out with the approval of the all of those people. So I do not comment on them outside of that. I'm very sorry, Adam. I know I could probably get crazy viewers and stuff if I did talk about that stuff, but that's a part of being responsible and involved with the series, as I am. Damien, any media like movies or TV shows that you're thinking of recommending to Oda in the future? I remember hearing you got him into Game of Thrones. Yes, got him into Game of Thrones. We talk about it. He has not seen season 7 yet, but he is looking forward to it. What else? I recommended Rick and Morty to him. I don't know if he's seen it yet or not, but I did recommend... Westworld! I got him into Westworld. I sent him a big letter that I think I discussed this before, but if you're hearing it for the first time, after I saw episode 1 of Westworld, I was like, this is amazing. This is incredible. Everybody needs to see this, and Oda needs to see this now. So I just, in like size 200 font, I was just, in Japanese, I was just like, Westworld is super cool. And I have like a Hanko, a Japanese Hanko stamp for your name. And I just went up, stamped it, and that's all I sent. I just sent that to him. And a couple months later, I was talking to the editors, and they were like, oh yeah, Oda's he's into Westworld. So yeah. Mission accomplished. What other manga do you like at the moment? This is from Rydell420. Hey, Rydell. Riddell? I know you've been in here a bunch of times. I want to read... I want to read Black Clover. I want to read One Punch Man. But I don't have the time for it. My life right now is main work or One Piece or private life. And there's very little time for hobbies except for video games. And video games take up a good chunk of private life, probably half and half with my wife. But I don't read many other manga, but it's not for lack of wanting to. I would love to be reading those series. I have... all the kids today are talking about Boku no Hero Academia. I like it. I enjoy it. I also met the author of Boku no Hero Academia. That's another dude I've had the pleasure of meeting. And it's a very enjoyable series. I can totally see the attraction of it. But it's just, I'm so dedicated to having One Piece work right now that I kind of need a hobby that isn't related to manga, because manga has become, or at least the world of manga related to it, has become a lot of my sub work, not even my main work, but my sub work. So it's like get home from work and then start work on my hobby, which is work. But I'm not complaining, hashtag blessed or whatever, but it's just how it is. You kind of want to get away from it. Let's see, I'm trying to get everybody. What is my... Thank God I made it on time. Hey, happy to have you here, Nightmare. Sergi says, I watched some of your streams on Twitcasting, but I'm... Oh, on Twitcasting you saw me. Okay. Buffon Nightmare. Greetings from Mexico. Howdy. Abdul, I don't like Jersey and much other than New York. Thank you. That's so nice. Dogma D is the One Piece is on the island where we met Gaimon. I think this is something I could totally comment, but I think the One Piece can be anything that people want it to be. The One Piece is a thing. Oda has gone on record saying it's a thing, but I think it can be. There's a disparity between what it is and what it can be, I think. And I know that's cryptic, but that's how I have to leave it. The Evil Rona, you talked about Luffy's progression in your column. Yes, I did. Thank you for reading. What do you think about Katakuri specifically? Excited that Oda's essentially giving Luffy a mirror match in a mirror world. I see. I didn't draw that connection. Okay, very cool. Yeah, how great is it that he's getting this character that can not only meet him punch for punch, but improve upon his attacks. And has pretty much Haxor's mantra ability. A full 10 seconds? That's insane. It's kind of like Luffy fighting a nightmare version of Enel, right? Like what if Enel could like seriously harm Luffy, and had even more mantra? That's kind of what we're getting here, and that's so necessary at this point. It's so cool. I'm very excited. Sorry, I'm just distracted. I hope that's not a spider. Okay, it's not. We've had spiders in here recently. It's creepy. So yeah, what can he do? I think that I've talked about this in the past. If you give Oda, if you sit Oda down, you're like, Oda, you have to complete this part of your story, and you have choice A and choice B. Which one are you going to choose? He'll be like, oh, I'll take choice C. He'll take the third option. So what do we have here? Well, Luffy has to either learn something, or Luffy has to power up in some way. What if Luffy could learn something, take something that he's learned and apply it here, as he has done in the past? Luffy is prone to doing this. It's almost like a Goku thing, where he'll see something and be like, oh, that's cool, I got an idea. And he'll mimic it, or he'll get an inspiration from it. I do believe, and Oda has never commented on this, but I do believe that that's the idea that he got from what was it, Rocket Man? I think it was Rocket Man. I think it's where he got the idea for Gear 2 is from Rocket Man. I believe there's a scene somewhere, and I haven't read this in years, but he looks at Rocket Man and he's just like, omoshiroi koto kangaita. He's just like, I thought of something really interesting. And then we get Gear 2. So is his, seeing this locomotion action, this pushing action, pushing of the steam, did that prompt him to go into Gear 2. I'd like to see something like that. I want to see that happen. I hope that we get a power-up that comes from something that he's learned, not just something that's like, oh, by the way, I had this Gear 5 that I can pull out. I'd like to see something that shows some experience and growth. All right, the chat is quickly progressing, and it's going beyond my speed, so I'm going to go up a little bit. Please bear with me. I am terrible at this. Hype for the new opening? Yes, I certainly am. Can't wait to see it. Pedro says, hello from Brazil. Hello from Japan. Can you tell us something about something the editors asked for you to leave out of your column that has already been addressed on the manga? It's a good question. Were there some in Dressrosa? This is the big one. And there's actually more about this that I can't entirely address yet, but the biggest one in my mind was, what was it? Where was the story? Nope. Yes. Chapter. Excuse me as I go through here. I think it was around chapter 700, maybe 699. Yeah, 700 or 701. And just as they're making their way to Dressrosa, and somebody says something about Kaido on board. They're like, Kaido, and the samurai's Kinemon's ears perk up, and Momonosuke is just like, huh. I think he gets doesn't he get like so surprised he like reverts or turns into the dragon or something. And I read that and I put together a couple of the scenes that from Punk Hazard where Kinemon was talking about not liking dragons and whatnot. And I made this whole theory that like Kaido, who is it? Like Kaido is the person who is controlling Wano. And at the time I don't know if I called, what did I say about and I thought that Momonosuke, sorry, I'm piecing this together, and I also got to be careful about what I say, is I was like, Momonosuke is probably the Shogun's son, and Kaido is probably controlling the Shogun. So Kaido probably has the Shogun captive. Kinemon is just an attendant to Momonosuke, and when we go to Wano, that's when we're going to deal with Kaido. And I wrote that about chapter 700 or so. Parts of it obviously were not did not come to be. Momonosuke is not the Shogun's son, but a large part of that seems to be the case, or has come to be the case. And that was I was really proud of that. I wrote it. I was just and it was going on and on. I wrote probably more than a page on it, and I was just like, it was one of those ones like, send, and then you get the check back, and it's just like, sorry, we can't run this. She's like, what? Why? And they're like, it's too close to reality. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Actually, this is a good opportunity for the exact opposite. Is something where I was like, oh, this has to be a connection, and I write it, and they're like, no, that's totally wrong. Remove that. and they're like, it'll actually cause problems for us if that's in there. It's so wrong. And I was just like, sorry. It was the where is it? This I can pull up easily. Volume 25, my favorite volume. Oh, such a good volume. These series of chapters in here are just so good. Okay. I can do this because I'm not monetizing this video, which is wonderful. So this little smiley face here, you know, the upside down smiley face. I was just like, oh, hey, that represents Doflamingo, or it represents maybe Law and whoever this Corazon guy is. And I went into a long spiel about that. And the producer at the time got back to me when I submitted it, and he was like, no, man. He's like, we went into it, we checked it, and no, it has no connection whatsoever. Sorry. And it was just like, oh, okay. All right. Well, then I guess I'll just rewrite all of this again. So, yeah. An example of a case where I do not call something and it's a problem. Oh, and it's from, like from Greece. Okay, all right. I was thinking like football brands. Oh no, I missed things. It's okay. You're here now. Catching up on comments. Exactly. If you mean something Katakuri, we're talking about Katakuri back then. Have you seen Baby Driver? I just watched it and I don't know why, but I kind of get a vibe that'd be up your alley. Damien, so maybe stylistically, yes. Maybe the villain being Kevin Spacey, yes. But I just have a hard time getting into those. What is it? It's not Seth Rogen. Michael Cera, kind of like I'm a guy and I'm a hero, and I get that like he's a badass driver and like he's supposed to have this dichotomy, but I'm sorry, I grew up in the 90s, so I want my heroes to be like the Jason Stathams. Maybe not the like. No, I was on the cutting edge. I was on the tail end of like the macho Schwarzenegger one-liners, but I like somewhere in between there. So like for the dude who's just kind of like, I'm your hero, and I have a hard time getting into that. That doesn't mean I'm not going to watch it. I totally want to see it when I get a chance. That's just my age showing, by the way, so pay it no mind. Evil Ronite says, yeah, I think Katakuri is the first New World opponent that Luffy has to surpass while fighting, like Crocodile. Yes, wouldn't that be one? Yes, you get it. Exactly. This is a room for growth. All right, we had Gear 4, and that was his trump card for Doflamingo, and he used it. Great. He was able to use Tankman for the other dude. Wonderful. That was also a little bit of growth, but it's kind of also possibly like a one-off. Obviously, Oda can take that anytime he wants. He can be like, I want to revisit Tankman and just have Luffy eat a ton. Sure, but I think it's basically just a one-off there. We need something that adds something to Luffy's repertoire. I hope we get that. Enki Dude. Yo, Greg, looking healthy. Oh, yeah. Doing well. Thanks, Enki. Hey, Greg, do you have a favorite color spread? Is it the one behind you? Personally, I really love the one where they're fighting the King Hippo. Oh, the detail on the King Hippo one is amazing, isn't it? The lighting on that. And it's for pretty much that same reason that I think, I don't know, I'd have to go back. This is my default favorite color spread because I first saw it years ago and I was just like, how the hell did he do this? But it's the one where they're going through the jungle and there's the tiger. I think Luffy's riding a tiger, someone's riding a tiger, and there's Nico Robin is in the foreground. I love the lighting in that. That was just like, oh, I'm seeing something special here. But, I mean, that Zet one with all the Marines, whoo! I just, actually, man, if you don't make a point of gathering the logs, at least get the 24th log, because holy crap, I wondered if they were going to reproduce it or not. And they totally did. Check this out. Boom. Look at that. Oh. I don't know if you're a new fan or something. I don't know if you know this or not, but I actually, when this was released, I went back and I identified almost, Sergi, I believe you did as well. I went through, I identified almost every single one of those Marines. There's only like a handful of them that can't be found in the series proper. And did you know Corazon is in there? Yeah, he's in there. Like 2 years before he was in the story or something. Shinjojin gotta go. Shinjojin gotta go. All right, take it easy. Take it easy, Shinjojin. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead there. Tabasco says, I hope all the crews on the next arc, Wano. Yeah, I think, and this is something that I can comment on because I don't know. I would like Wano to be the first place that the entire Straw Hat crew is assembled. I think there's probably an image that Oda has had in his mind that he's wanted to draw of the crew together, the full crew together for the first time. And I hope that he'll be able to draw it there. Probably, I think he's had this image in his head probably since day one of the series starting, of like drawing everyone together. And it's probably changed over the years how exactly he wants to draw it, but I just get the feeling that it's something he has basically, as for lack of a better term, no, I'm not going to use that. He's very excited. He's very excited for it. Trying to keep this PG, not even PG-13. Kichiyoshiwa, what do you plan to do after One Piece will end? That is an excellent question for One Piece fans. What do we do after it's over? Well, I faced that kind of twice because I was into Dragon Ball GT in real time. Like, I experienced that series end while I was enjoying it. Not that I watched it on television, not that I had easy access to it. It was difficult to get a hold of. But I remember going to Toei's website at the time. They had a very basic, or no, was it Toei or Fuji TV? It might have been Fuji TV. And they had very basic websites, but I remember going there and checking each week to see what was going on, to see just a screenshot of the next episode, to see what was happening, to get an idea of what was happening. And I remember checking those all the time, and then seeing like, oh my god, can you imagine that? Being in America at the time, and just like the internet still being quite early, and just logging on the website and seeing freaking Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Goku, and then Super Saiyan Gogeta. Jesus, that was amazing. So yeah, I've experienced Dragon Ball end in real time, and you're just like, it's over, but I still enjoy it. I still enjoy the process of enjoying it as I did up until now. It's a different way of enjoying it. You have all of the available answers, so like the mystery is gone, but you still enjoy it, and you do move on, because, well, I mean, if I didn't move on from Dragon Ball, then I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I have to leave, but thanks for remembering me, dude, and don't forget to leave a like for Greg. Hey, thanks, man. I'm trying to make sure, trying to get all the questions here. So just same with me. Do you ever regret not being able to read the series like a normal fan anymore? Asks Giant Clam. Yes, all the time. Honestly, I totally do. I constantly have to read a chapter and think, what you're it's a constant balance. I'm doing what Rick? You constantly have to think about what is something that has wide appeal, what is something that will not ruin the story, and then I'm carrying this conversation as usual, five lines ahead, when thinking about what to write, or what to write about, or what to introduce in the column. Sometimes there are things that are so obscure, and you're just like, this is so cool, and this is important to me, and I want it in there, and I'll put it in. But the rest of the time, you have to think about what has a broad appeal to the audience, to the readership. And what's difficult for me is I'm balancing two readerships, because I write the articles in Japanese and English, and I need to think about what appeals to both of those fan bases and what is a common ground. It would be the easiest thing in the world to do Law and Sanji feature pieces every week and get, crazy reactions from Japanese fans. but I don't want to. Um, I have to pick something that works for both fan bases, that works for me, that I'm interested in, and that is also probably something that most people won't pick up on. Sometimes that's not always the case. Like with this Karakuri thing. I mean, I think my most recent column is a little bit like, if you're a hardcore fan, if you're like a Sergi, it's kind of like you read that and you're like, well, duh. But you also have to consider that there are fans out there who are not reading it or not spending that much time. They still love it just as much as you do, but they just don't have the time or the resources to enjoy it that way. And when they read that, they may be like, oh, that's okay, I hadn't considered that. So when I read a chapter, those are just a few of the things that are going through my mind. Also, you can't talk about things that are going to change from week to week. This is why I'm really happy I am where I am in releases right now. I used to be about 4 chapters behind the manga. So like when my articles came out, they would be 4 chapters behind real time. And that was really hard to write about, because you want to be like, hey, I wonder what could happen next week, and get that out there before next week. Because otherwise, you know what's going to happen next week. Even if you're writing it on time as you're reading it, when it gets released, you're like, hey, I wonder if so-and-so is going to show up next week. That no longer works, because it's 4 weeks, you're 4 chapters in, and you're already in a different location. So I'm really happy where I am with releases right now. That wasn't always the case. That was another big problem. And I'm talking strictly about the manga here as well, not the anime. But yeah, I guess I'm rambling at this point. But those are the kind of things that I have to think about when I'm reading a chapter, instead of just like, wow, this is cool. Not that I don't have those emotions, but I don't read it and then think like, I'm absorbing and analyzing many different things instead of just the story or just the characters, and that is a shame. I also don't read it in Jump. I do not read Scanlations, but I do not read it in Jump. I do not discuss how I read One Piece, but I do not read Scanlations. And yeah, it's just a very different way of absorbing it from I did years ago when I wasn't involved with it. And again, not complaining. Enkidude. Oops. Do you remember any old headcanon arcs? Headcanon. Maybe canon arcs you hope to see, or stories, characters, directions you really wanted to develop but obviously never did. Do you remember any? Okay. So like characters that I wanted to see more developed, but they weren't. Yeah. In fact, my next video discusses one of those characters, Monet. Tons of characters. I think the worst offender is the entirety of the Don Quixote do Flamingo family. We know that they all have backstories, but Oda hasn't shared them with us. When we say backstories, I'm not saying that he's done each of them to the level of detail that, you know, Senior Pink had. But I mean, he knows who everyone is. He knows, you know, what their deal is, and the general idea of how they came to be where they are. And the fact that we did not get that helps make them well, does not help to make them feel like a full force. We sure know a heck of a lot about Law. We can extrapolate a lot of information about them thanks to the flashback, but there's still a lot that we're missing. Way too much, I think. Like, we don't even know why Lao Ji was supposed to be a superhero. Like, we kind of get that, and he has the whole rabbit thing going on, so he was kind of supposed to be this super speed guy. But just like, okay, well, like, why? How far do the whys go? This is like a problem of every TV show. Like, how far do you explain yourself? You don't need to go that deep, but just enough to, you know, to get a feeling for why this person is dangerous, what they're capable of. He's super speed. He's super fast. Okay. Well, so is pretty much everybody else. I mean, they all fight on this incredibly fast super speed level. Oh, we can pick a gnat out of the air or something like that. All right, I still get that, but like, tell me a little bit about it. Like, is he from Kano or something? Where is he from? How did he train? Blah blah blah. And that's just, you go across each member of the Don Quixote family, and it's just that all for almost all of them. And Monet is one. She's a heartbreaker, because I really want to know what her deal is. So yeah, I'd love to see more of the Don Quixote family. All right, skipping down the comments here, hopefully not skipping over anybody. All right. Why so many people don't get One Piece? Hey, it's another one of those things that's like, if you're not being mean about it and you don't get it, like if you're criticizing the series and you're like, this is stupid, and I don't like Luffy because he's too straightforward, or he doesn't try to resort, that's kind of mean, and like, I would probably be a little bit harsh if I was replying to someone like that. But if you're like, I'm a fan, I like it, but I don't understand why Luffy, what's a good example? I don't understand why Luffy doesn't go straight to gear 2nd or gear 3rd or gear 4th or whatever. Like, why doesn't Luffy always go straight to gear 4th? There are reasons for this. I detailed some of them in my column, but it's like, how can I put it? You need to have a logical flow for the reader to follow what will and what won't work in a fight, per se. And if you don't get that, there's no problem with it. That's cool. Because that's going understanding or seeing or appreciating those kind of things are looking way too deeply in manga. Like, Oda writes a story that can be appreciated on that level, which is amazing, but he doesn't have to. It's just manga. He even says, like, manga is the king of wasting time. You should be, able to sit down, read manga, have fun, laugh, and then discuss it with someone. And that's what shonen manga should be there for. But he writes it, and these incredible high concept levels with characters that are luscious, that it can be appreciated on that level. So like, when people don't get One Piece at that level, I'm fine with it. And I get, maybe again, that's just my age speaking, that I'm kind of beyond that, but it can be frustrating if you're a fan who just constantly hears criticisms of it. I get that. I get you. Momonosuke stayed behind on Zou, but I still think he's going to be a major role in Wano. This is from Dalcor. Agree 100%. If we get all the straw, this is from Roshalisha. If we get all the Straw Hat crew in Wano, we won't have no room for proper character development of the other people like Kinemon, Raizo, etc. No, everyone will. It's okay. Chill out. It's going to be all right. There will be plenty of time for that, because I think we're going to have a divided battle on different fronts, and if Wano is anything like I think it is, then this crew is going to be split up, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with the crew being split up, so long as we just have the crew. They're all there, because we've done that before. We've had them all split up just in the same area, and we spent different amounts of time with them. That was Enies Lobby, and it was brilliant. Except this time, because it's a larger force, we need more supporting cast with them. Well, we don't need more supporting cast, but Oda is just so freaking awesome that he's going to give us more supporting cast, and it just makes sense. There will definitely, Evil Ronite, there will definitely be a ton to analyze about One Piece after it's done. It's kind of exciting in and of itself. Totally. And man, after the series is done, I can start to talk about, some of the stuff that I can't talk about now. Like, if you've seen the 10 Things You Didn't Know About One Piece video, I mentioned that there are hidden things from the assistants that I do not want to talk about during serialization for respect of their privacy and for the series proper. I don't want to detract from Oda's work. But there is stuff in there, man, that is hidden that is I am dying to talk about. And it's please don't think that it has anything to do with the story. For goodness sake, it has nothing to do with the story. It's just hidden stuff. It's just it's this movie title, or like this person's name or that person's name. You probably don't even know who they are, but it's just like it's cool to know that like, oh, there's something here that I didn't know. I love that stuff. And there's a ton of it in this series, and I want to share it with everyone, but it's not business proper, and I am associated with One Piece on a business level, so it's not going to happen. Sorry. But when the series ends, that's when those chains kind of come off. Dogma D, how many chapters do you think are left in this arc? I answered this on the One Piece podcast, and I think I shot way too low seeing how things are going now, but I hope Oda loves to change locations on those hundreds. He loves to have big developments on the hundreds, whether it's defeating someone, a big villain, or moving beyond someone, or changing an island. So I think we can expect things to move along around 900. I think that sounds realistic. Just a guess. Stacy Chen. Hey, Stacy. Thanks for always retweeting and liking on Twitter. Was that a Morty impression? Spot on. Yes, it was. I have very little confidence in it. It sounds good to me. It sounds good like the voice in my head, but it's one of those things where you hear a recording of yourself and you're just like, oh, it sounds like a dying gazelle. Daniel Venner. Greg, what is your favorite One Piece collectible? What the hell is behind there? Let's move up there. There we go. That right there. What? Oda's autograph. That is my favorite One Piece collectible. Bar none. The day I got that, I was bawling. I was crying. Oh my God. My wife came home and I was just sitting at the top of the stairs. Oh my God. I can't. Oh man, that was amazing. The director of the TV show I was on actually came to deliver it in person from Tokyo. It was crazy. Just to get my reaction. I was a wreck. And for months afterwards, I would like come across the room after it got framed. I would just like walk across the room, look up at it, and just like start crying. For Inktober, I'm drawing a One Piece character every day. Excellent, Sergi. I didn't know you were an artist. That's great. Go for it, man. All Blue Channel. Hey guys, good to see you. Since Oda seems pretty open-minded about One Piece, do you think we'll have manga spin-off or roman by other author based on Oda's notes, lead after the end, the Old Kingdom or Roger's Youth, for example? That is an excellent question. There are two ways this can go. One, because One Piece is so huge, Shueisha will obviously want to continue that to the same extent that Boruto is. And I mean, if it's a hard end, that's harsh for them. After the Kanzenbans come out, I remember one editor of mine, not One Piece editor, but an editor of mine joking, he's like, yeah, after the Kanzenbans come out, I wonder if this company will still move forward. He was joking, of course. But One Piece is essentially an industry in and of itself now. So after that ends, I wonder if they'll allow him to finish it or not, right? And I don't mean him. I mean allow him to lawfully say like, oh, you can't do anything with this series. On the other hand, maybe he can say that. Maybe he can say, hey, it's done and I don't want anybody touching it. But I think there is an opening for that. My personal belief is that One Piece is open to continue in the same way Boruto is. That is to say, by assistants or people who've been very close to it for many years. I believe that it might be able to continue following the adventures of the kids from Punk Hazard. It's one of the first things they did into the New World. There were also the kids in Fishman Island who were super important, who saw the Straw Hats and were like, we want to be like them. I think the most meaningful ending to the story would be if we had a flash forward. I don't know how many years it was. Was it like 17 years? No, they're not that young. Maybe like 10 years or so. And see them setting off together on their own ship. And that's how One Piece ends. And then that adventure could be followed in the... I guess it would be a canon continuation, but like the non-Oda drawn canon. I think they're setting themselves up for that. So yeah. Good question, All Blue Channel. All right, I'm skipping down again to some of the questions. Woo! Woo! Lots of questions. I'm going to try to hit all of these. Who are your favorite One Piece voice actors? Have you met any of them? I have met all of the main crew. I've met a lot of the side characters. Sometimes I've met people I didn't even know. Were like super famous. Like we were at the Hanami, the Sakura, the Cherry Blossom Festival one year, and like I got through the entire day, and I saw a picture afterwards that Tanaka Mayumi posted on her blog, and it was like, oh yeah, and there's Megumi Hayashibara, and it was just like, I did not know that. Then when I was like sitting down and I bought tacos to the Hanami party because Taco Bell had just opened up at the time in Shibuya, or reopened in Japan, and so I was like, I want to get something amazing. So I was like, I'm gonna get tacos. So I got like, I don't know, 40 tacos. It was ridiculously expensive, and brought them to the party. And I was just sitting down, and there was a dude sitting next to me with his wife and kid, and I was like, oh, here you go. And he was like, oh, thanks. He's like, and what are you doing here? And I was just like, oh, I work on the website. I write articles. I also write for VJump. And he was like, oh, that's cool. He's like, I do the voice for Sabo. Oh, okay. So also, Gundam dude and everything. It's just like, okay, all right. And that's how a lot of that goes down. You just don't know. You're like, oh, right. But yeah, all very, very cool people. Pedro, did Oda ever comment on the decision of changing Chopper's design to make him cuter? I also really liked the early concept art where Chopper is taller and more anthropomorphic. He did. He made, I think it was around the 10th anniversary. I think he spent one of the 10th anniversary comment section speaking about that, where he was just like, I wanted this like uncute, ugly looking thing that looked realistic, because I wanted the like anti-mascot character. But then he saw, I think, some of the like early designs that the anime team chalked up for Chopper, and he was just like, and it was really cute, and like Chopper just got more round and more round and more round, and until he is just a series of circles. As he is today. Stacy Chen, are you interested in the One Piece VR experience? Yes, I am interested in it. I was actually invited to go partake in that, but it was a little bit too late in the evening. It was back when the 20th anniversary was on, and it was go do the VR or go watch my buddy's MC job. Is Takashi's TV, a YouTuber guy, and I wanted to go watch his MCing work, so I opted to go see that instead. But yes, I would love to see it. All right, going down. Daniel Venard. The comment I always get is, why don't they use pointy bullets to hurt Luffy? Well, rather than pointy bullet, we've had pointy bullets hurting Luffy before. That was Krieg. He had those spikes that he fired off. And they work very well, but I mean, you have to consider, like, every time they meet with the Marines, it's not like, hey, let's go meet the Marines. They don't set up an engagement with them. They just kind of happen upon them. So you'd have to have Marines that have that kind of ammo available to them at the time. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like if you have bounty hunters going after Luffy, that's something where you'd want that kind of a story. Like they should be prepping to fight him, and they should be going with those kinds of weapons. So I would agree with that criticism if it hit that, but not Marines where they just happen upon them. Which character has your favorite design, like purely and on this aesthetic level? That's such a hard question. I have to think about that off the cuff. Wow. It's a character that I see and I'm just like, wow, maybe. Who's someone that I just seen? I'm like, whoa, cool. Maybe Arlong, and maybe that's just because of how fearsome he is, but that's not my final answer. Because I like Frankie's design a lot too. Anel's up there too. Ace is just, he's super cool. I don't know. Well, because what I like about Arlong is that he has that damn hat. That stupid hat. I don't know what the name of it is, but he's got that hat, and it's ridiculous. It looks absurd. It looks like he's wearing something. He looks like he should be in Canada chopping down trees. What the heck is with that hat? He looks like a super redneck with it. I don't get why he has that hat on. It seems to completely clash not only with his character but with his like tropical theme as well. Unless it's just something I'm not aware of, which is very possible. But I don't know what's up with that hat. It's the weirdest thing, and I like that. All right, next. Brinty asks, do you have any specific hopes for what Project Dawn turns out to be? My expectations for One Piece video games are, unfortunately, quite low. That's not for lack of trying on the part of the developers, but it's just I think it's it's something that's difficult to throw money at for a AAA game for one of those titles. I don't have any expectations for Project Dawn, and therefore I expect to be happy because I have no expectations. Delcor asks, what's it like being on the One Piece podcast? I have so much fun listening to it, so I can only imagine how much fun actually being on it would be. The guys are amazing. I mean, you can't stop laughing when you're talking with them. I mean, it's exactly what you hear. But it's also a lot of pressure for me because I'm more like this, what I'm doing right now. I sit down, I have long pauses, I need to think about stuff and sort what I'm going to say. I'm not a good public speaker. I'm nervous in front of the camera. I have difficulty organizing my thoughts when I'm speaking. I'm much a writer. I like to be a writer. I like to put my thoughts down on paper, and I can also perform. I like to do a script, but off the cuff, like they do. Like Steve is just constantly coming out with this material. Alex is constantly coming out with this improv material, and it's just, I don't know how they do it. It's incredible, and it's tough to A, keep up with that, B, get all the references, and also try not to drag them down or drag the pace down, which I did a lot in I think the earlier episodes, and it feels awkward not being myself. It's nervous for me because I can't be myself. I can't talk to you guys like I'm talking to you right now at my own pace. I can slow down. I can think. I feel like I'm putting them out of their way. And that's why there's a lot of pressure. But I mean, it is just every bit as much fun as listening to them in between takes as well, as you imagine it is. Damien asks, any unused stuff, like in the sketches from the color walks or data books, that you're upset or happy didn't wind up in the series proper? Yeah. Well, this is the great thing about One Piece is you never know if it's going to be unused. It might pop up in another form. So I don't want to say that I'm disappointed in anything yet, because you never know when it'll show up. That's what's great about Oda, is he just has all these ideas, and he's like, that didn't work out here, but I can use it again in 5 years. Yeah. All right, I'm seeing a lot of like, oh my god, that's so cool. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're looking at the autograph. Okay, that's when I pulled up the autograph. If you're just joining us, that is the autograph from Oda. So, also that is from Oda in the back. It's not the original, but this this pirate thing, that's the message that he wrote us on television. It's not the original message, but that's it. It's a copy of it. Right. A lot of reactions. Please tell us your thoughts on Luffy versus Katakuri from Thomas Myers. I kind of spoke about that a little bit earlier. If you'd like to go back in the podcast, I think, it's not a podcast. If you'd like to go back in the video, I think you can find it around there. But I basically say that Luffy should not have just a power-up. He should not just have something that he thinks or imagines. He should have... Imagine, I'm not explaining myself well. It's not something that he should just realize in the midst of battle. It should be something that it should be a marriage of those two. It should be something that he puts together, that he's learned, and that it's a chance for him to grow as a character in battle, which we have not seen. I don't think we have seen, besides Tankman. And like I said before, my qualifier for Tankman was Tankman seems like it could very easily be a one-off. That Oda could pull out anytime he wants, but I do believe it's more like a Nightmare Luffy kind of thing. Alright. Foggy Sunset says, Sergi is an amazing artist. I should check out his work. I will do that. Alright, going back up to comments. Wow, there are a lot of comments. Okay. Enki Dude. Okay, I'm emotionally full bore in the Luffy category conflict, but I can't get over the mochi fruit. It sheds my suspension of disbelief. I think it's super silly and I can't shake it even. But that's as it should be. It should be, that needs to be everything in One Piece. It should have that sense of, and now he was drawn just so that he could have the scene where he goes like, and also like he's super cool, right? Take off that cap, that plastic cap or that rubber cap, boom, he's got that goofy looking hair. That's what One Piece is at its core. If it didn't have that, it wouldn't be One Piece. As far as if you mean if Enki, by that you mean like it doesn't work because it's not a Logia. I have an article about that, and I do suggest you should go read that. That's over on OnePiece.com. I explain why the Mochi Mochi fruit as a paramecia makes sense, as a quote-unquote special paramecia makes sense, and also its relation to possibly Luffy having a quote-unquote special paramecia. Go check that out. All right, James Carroll, late to the party here, but I wanted to say congrats on getting the cake theory right. Definitely the most fluid part of the most recent chapter. Thoughts on the waving ending by Big Mom? Ooh, I should not have read that. James Carroll, sorry, I do not comment on... I read that out loud. Sorry, I read that out loud, but I do not comment on scanlations. The chapter is not officially out yet. The chapter will be officially out on Monday in Japan and in the States, so I do not comment on that. Sorry guys. Mega Gamer Man, what number is this fan? So strong possibility. Yep. Giant Clam, do you think the kids from Punk Hazard will get turned back to normal size? I hope they do. Because that's the whole reason they're being taken to Vegapunk, right? Is like hopefully he can cure them. True Evie. Hello, Greg. Do you think Whitebeard Jr. will be much of a challenge for Luffy? His bounty is a lot smaller than that of Cracker and Katakuri. Well, remember, that's the thing about Shichibukai, is like they get their bounty, and they might be super tough, but you know, their bounty just sticks after that. I mean, Blackbeard's bounty was 0. And he's probably the last boss, so not too worried about that. As far as him fighting Luffy, I'm not even sure that he will fight Luffy directly head on. Will he be involved in conflict? Sure, probably. But I'm not sure if he's one for Luffy to fight, if that's like a one-on-one thing. I'm not saying yes or no, I'm just saying I'm not sure. I don't know how to place him yet. I know that he's interested in Marco, and I know that things seem to be going towards Marco. So that places him in the same direction as the One Piece Straw Hats. How will that play out? We shall see. Enkidu, the lamp guy feels more realistic and creative, and I have no problem with it. But Mochi on this billion berry monster, I don't know. Anyway, do you have any moments like this? Well, I mean, usually I do, but they're usually before I get a good explanation from Oda. I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. Why would this work? And then I wait 2 weeks and I get an answer for that. So a lot of times it pays off being patient. I buy the Mochi just because it seems to be a great foil for Luffy. I mean, take any devil fruit can be devastating, but it just needs to be in the hands of somebody who can be creative and hone that ability to a great level that nobody else could. So like, that's why it's great. I mean, look at our hero. He's rubber, and that's ridiculous, but he's our hero, and he's badass. I buy the same thing for Katakuri, but that's just me. Oh, Greg, Sergi says, Tabasco. Oh, Greg knew I'm an artist, but I think he might think I'm another person. It could be confusing. I asked for help in the One Piece Film Gold Art Contest, and he was really nice. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you did. My bad. Daniel Venard, Christian. Hi, Greg. Do you think Katakuri is not a Logia by name alone? Christian, I kind of went into that about Katakuri, but like, he's not a Logia. He's a special paramecia that was retconned, and I think that makes sense. If you're interested in my thoughts on that, check out the OnePiece.com column, and you can find out more about that. What I think, at least. Wow, we're talking about bounty hunters. I am so far behind on these. I really apologize, guys. I wanted the collaboration. I wonder if the collaboration event in Kyoto in One Piece will affect the Wano arc. Don't expect it to affect the Wano arc at all. It is a side story, completely original. However, do not count out some of those characters making cameo appearances in the form of backgrounds. I don't know if they would have lines or anything or be referenced, but I don't think it's going to have any canon effect. His hat from Arlong Park, or the flashback? From Arlong Park. From Arlong Park, that fuzzy, like, I don't know, woodland or woodcutter looking hat. Matt Butler, this is probably super late. I don't even know if you're watching this anymore, but what's up, man? The only One Piece games I've enjoyed are the Warriors series personally. Yeah, they've been good. I mean, as far if you're a fan of the Warriors series, the Musou series or whatever, the One Piece series of those games are right up that alley. Adam is curious to know what really happened to Quina. I'm pretty sure she's dead. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. My thoughts on it is that she's dead. 911 Devil Hunter. Hey Greg, just want to let you know it's been fun listening to you all eating breakfast. Are you in? Let's see, it's 11:32 here, so I imagine you're somewhere in Asia. Panji Ancillary. Next time on One Piece, Wano arc, Zoro versus Stare. A second C. Is there a particular reason you don't archive these streams? Yes. I don't archive them just because if there's a mishap, if something is read. Like earlier, I read out a question that included information from a scanlation. I don't like to have that information out there. And also, I can't quality monitor these at all. Well, that's what it comes down to, I guess, basically, is if I have a video, then it's something that I can quality monitor. And also it allows me to do stuff like I did before, like, hey, look at this thing in here. I can't show you these if they're, or at least I should not show you the interior of these comics if it's on a monetized stream. Okay, Greg, then don't monetize it. Okay, well I could probably get away with having it on there not monetized, but it's not responsible of me to keep it up there for multiple viewings. If I show you it here for a second or something, it's not a big deal. It's not going to rub somebody the wrong way, and it's not an issue for, most importantly, the people who I work with. But if I do archive it and it's accessible anytime, then it's simply not responsible of me as someone who's affiliated with the series in that regard. I don't mean to lecture you here. I'm not trying to mansplain anything, but that's just the reality of it. And I apologize for that. I know that it sucks. But I figured talking with you guys here like this is better than doing nothing. Okay. Excited for the Kyoto event? Yes, I am. We are going there. Looking forward to it. I'm glad you had this live show. I'm looking forward to more in the future. Enjoy your weekend, Greg. Daniel, you're already out, but thank you for the well wishes. Jose Waya says, speaking of Vegapunk, when will we see him? I just can't wait to see his design and explanation about the Devil Fruit. I thought that the perfect place for Vegapunk to make his appearance was at this wedding. I swore he was going to be one of the VIP guests at the wedding because of his association to Judge. Nope. Oh well. So when is he going to appear next? I have no idea. I literally have no idea. Wano, I mean, how many more options does Oda have at this point? I don't know. Wano, Elbaf, Pirate Island, Raftel. Somewhere in there. Maybe there's an island we don't even know about yet. Do you think there's ever hope for anime to get better? Double the pace and budget. This is one of those things that I was speaking early on in this show. You should write Oda. You should let him know what you feel about the anime. And don't be nasty, don't be mean, but just be like, hey, I enjoyed the show much better when it was like this. Oda listens to what his fans have to say. Especially if you're saying it politely. Be honest about it. Say, you know, I feel that it would be better if it was like this. He needs to hear that. You should definitely send things his way. Oh, and I guess I didn't answer the question, but do you think is there hope? If enough people let him know that they are discomforted with it abroad, in Japan, maybe so. I look at some of these recent episodes and they're just amazing, and I'm just like, why can't it be like this all the time? Evil Ronak, do you think the emperors have actual bounties? If so, when would be an appropriate time to reveal one? I was so hoping that the appropriate time to reveal one would be like, you know that scene where Mom is bearing down on the Straw Hats? When she's in her rage mode? I thought that would have been a perfect time for it, for a bounty reveal. The other, if it's going to happen, if we're going to get one and it's not going to be there, I think the other good time for one would be when Prometheus and Zeus come back to her, because I believe they will, because she needs a power up. She's powered down technically now. I believe that she will create a storm of epic proportions. And this goes back to my original cake theory, is like, people are like, cake, they're dumb. I was like, wait, Mom is going to make all hell break loose on Totland. Not Whole Cake Island, not Cocoa Town or something. Totland is going to be at stake. So when those two get to her, I think she is going to make an epic storm. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be a maelstrom. And at that point, when we see her at her full capability, I believe is the second opportunity, and perhaps last opportunity, this arc at least, for a Yonko bounty. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Right. Nick's asked, how do you think the reviving aspect of the Phoenix Fruit will be used? If Marco died, would he come back as a baby? Don't know. Have not thought about it. That is a good question. It's something that I should think more about, but I do not know. I apologize. There are times like this where I'll just be like, I don't know, or like, I haven't thought about it, and I don't answer just because I don't want to give you a half-assed answer. I want to give you something that I can think about. So, Nick, that is a great question. You gave me something to think about. Dalcor, what do you think about the giant tree on Elbaf? Possibility of falling? What could cause it to fall? Yeah, I've talked about that. That's my theory for Elbaf. The first time I saw it, I was just like, that tree needs to fall. I've discussed that actually on here. It needs to be like a member of... I think Elbaf should be a cooldown arc. And similar to Zoe, similar to Foxy. Foxy is a cooldown arc, love it or leave it. And we need something crazy to happen there. Oda loves to show us impossibilities. Okay, so we see this gigantic thing that looks like a tree. I mean, bigger than mountains, actually dwarfs mountains. All right, what would be the coolest thing to happen? The most like unbelievable thing that could happen to that tree for it to fall. How does it fall? How should it fall? Well, it's obviously something the people who live in Elbaf need or want or love or respect, right? So someone who should be denoted, we should understand as like evil, should be hated, should take down that tree. I think Blackbeard pirates should take down that tree. San Juan Wolf would be an option. Maybe even them working together. Even the least likely of them taking it down would be awesome. But I think that's what needs to happen, and it would be a great setup for going into the final arc or the final arcs. Does Blackbeard have a known bounty? Well, if Yonkos do have bounties, this is from the mute guy. Oh, excuse me. If Yonkos do have bounties, then by this point he should. His time as a Shichibukai has come to an end. So he should be back to having a bounty. Going through comments. In my opinion... Oh, 911 Hunter, you're in Saudi Arabia. It's about 6 a.m. Oh, you're up early. Okay, man. Wow, good for you. Sergi, in my opinion, the Unlimited Cruise Series games are the best One Piece video games. They are good. They're good. They're not great. I really enjoyed the Grand Battle series, specifically 3. I loved Grand Battle 3. Rich C. Luffy's going to be the strongest because he's the MC, but by Katakuri taking the time to fight Luffy, he's making his own prediction come true. He's giving Luffy the tools he needs to be a threat. Luffy does not need to be the strongest. Luffy needs to yell the strongest. Luffy needs to have the most ambition. And I don't mean ambition as like necessarily like hockey. I just mean he needs actual ambition. If Luffy becomes the strong... If Luffy by himself overcomes something like Kaido on strength alone, then the series immediately becomes uninteresting. Because he becomes the strongest thing in the world. That's if he's taking Kaido down one-on-one, pure strength. That's it. Just strength. I do believe Kaido needs to be a group effort. if Luffy takes him down, then that's it. I mean, it's like, well, you just beat the strongest thing in the world. You are now the strongest thing in the world. Where do you go from it? It's like beating a video game. It's like, I don't know, some people are not like this. I am. If you get to level 99 in a game, there's no more growth. Unless like a patch comes out, but that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking like there's a cap. You've hit that cap, and not only have you hit that cap, you have all the loot, and you can trounce everything. So where do you go? Some people do enjoy it. If it's a technical game, then some people do enjoy to keep playing. They find challenge in it. But when something becomes non-challenging, you're just like, okay, next. And that's why I believe it would be uninteresting from Oda's perspective. And this is what's important. It doesn't matter if you're like, nah, Greg, I totally got that. I'm down with that. That can happen. I'd be cool with it. All right, but that's you. That's not Oda. And we know that's not Oda. And Oda wouldn't forgive that for a series. But yeah, can Luffy still be stronger than Katakuri? Sure. Okay, I will buy that, absolutely. But Kaido is one where it's just like, yeah, no. Dalcor asks, do you think it's possible for Vegapunk to show up at Reverie? Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the possibilities. I don't know what purpose it'd have to the story. Like, is that the best way to show him? Does Luffy need to interact with him? Would it be interesting if Luffy interacted? What would his purpose there be? Just to be there? Or is there something interesting that he needs to comment on? What would his purpose of being there do? Or accomplish in the end? And I'm not saying it's not going to accomplish anything. I'm saying that's the kind of question you need to ask yourself when you think about that. Like, what would he do there? What could he add to the story? Vegeta asks, is the cake gonna stun Mom or knock her out? I don't know the difference between the two. You mean like it just stuns her as in like she's momentarily out? If so, then no, I think it would completely knock her out. It should knock her out. And there needs to be power behind it too. I do not expect the series, the final thing to just be like, Mom's like, oh, the cake. And that's the end. Nah, there's going to be power. There's going to be force behind it. It's going to be great. Hopefully we'll see Luffy and Sanji teaming up to shove it down her throat. Nick suggests, isn't Vegapunk tied to the world government? Seems like a bad idea for a pseudo-member of the Marines to attend a pirate wedding. Well, that's the thing, is pseudo-member. I don't know if we know exactly how much freedom he has or not, where he's able to go, if he's able to go anywhere. I mean, we also have members of, CP infiltrating there. So he might have a lot of sway. He might be a prisoner. It depends. If he has a lot of sway, then he might be able to go wherever he damn well wants. But I don't know. I think going to see something with Judge, who is, that's the point, is going to see something, I'm wedding with Judge, who is a member of the world government. I think he could have gotten by on that. Or no, they were just, he is being kicked out of Reverie. Is that what it was? Something like that. Like, they are a country. They are recognized, but doesn't think they have a place in the Reverie or something like that, right? So I think if Oda wanted to, he could have created a reason for Vegapunk to be there. Christian asks, do you think the anime is going to be for a new format with the 1 hour special for big moments? Nope. I think this is just something they're doing for the fall. It would be cool if this is a yearly thing, right? If they try to, put a lot of money into a couple episodes each season. But rather than see that, I'd just rather see quality episodes every week. Luke asks, how long has the stream been going? I don't know. Let's see. That's a good question. Like an hour, almost 2 hours now? Usually run about 2 hours. Josue asks, we know that Oda is pretty creative on how he handles Devil Fruit, but how do you think he can handle Smoothie's power in a fight? He's got it. He can do anything. Yeah, I love Smoothie too. I love her design. I fell in love with her the moment I saw her. It's Oda. I never worry about that kind of stuff. We don't know everything about how her power works yet either, which is to Oda's fault. But I don't worry about that. Jimby asks, where did you get the hat? It's awesome. I got this hat from the, how can I put it? The coolest crane game in the world. That's probably all I should say about that. As far as where it's available publicly, it should be at like the Straw Hat stores and stuff. Yeah, unless it's not out yet. I don't know. Is it? I don't know if I'm wearing something that's not out yet. It probably should be. I don't know. But it was fitted, so that's why I was just like, yeah. I've been waiting for a fitted one piece hat for it because I have my old one, but it's gross. And I love it to death, but it's gross. And I wanted a new one, so with this. I just hope this Ken Canna from Connecticut. I just hope this arc ends with Big Mom realizing that she ate the kids and Caramel. Yeah. If she did, I am of the belief that she did at this point. But I believe there is some leeway for Oda to wrap it around that something didn't happen quite that way. I mean, folks, we have a memory Devil Fruit user, and Mom does not have memories of that incident. Come on, there's got to be something that's going on. Plus, we have Streusen. I would still love for Streusen to be the last boss because you have Beige's, what is it? Beige's gun. I'm going to call it instead of Chekhov. You have Chekhov's Beige. Chekhov's Beige, who just casually threw out there, like, oh yeah, Streusen, he's that head chef. He'd probably be really strong if he was in a fight. Oh, and he's knocked out. Really? Really? Is he? Streusen seems like a sneaky guy. I don't know. So I would love for Streusen to be involved in the end of this. I actually wonder if this is part of... This is... Like, Streusen is conducting a good... There was one point where I thought Beige was conducting what was going on. Now I'm wondering if Streusen is kind of conducting what's going on. And not that he's like Doflamingoing all of these parts. If he's just like, oh, I can take advantage of this. Just like he took advantage of her back on what eventually became Totland, Whole Cake Island. Big Mom, okay, Vegeta 6 says, Big Mom demise at Elbaf. That's if you subscribe to the fact that this is going to end poorly with Big Mom. I do not think it will. Hamza, when do I often stream? I don't often stream, but if I do stream, it's usually right around this time, whatever time it is for you in the world, because there's Saturday mornings for me, and that's just a good time for me to get on here. I like to also just kind of be like, hey, I'm on. I don't like to schedule times too much. James Carroll. All right, I should probably start to wrap this up. We're hitting on 2 hours, so I'm going to start to wrap up some things. I'm going to go through some of these questions quickly, like I do each time at the end. Excited for Reverie from James Carroll. Yes. Will Vivi be the character we follow? I hope so. Combo question. Thoughts on Sabo's bounty? Sorry about the comment earlier. No worries, James Carroll. I talked all about Sabo's bounty last time, so I don't want to touch on it too. It makes perfect sense to me. I should probably write an article or do a video on that at some point, just so it's archived. But yeah, it makes sense to me. I buy it completely. Tabasco Boshi Elbaf, it will be time for Usopp to shine. Looking forward to it. Me too. Adam Ferdinand. I know Queen is dead, but I don't believe she fell down the stairs. Aha! Her father looks very emotionless and suspicious. I was wondering if we'll revisit Zora's backstory like we did with Sanji. It's Wano. It's possible. I have no reason not to trust Koshiro, though. I think he's a legit dude. Adam, it's a good point you bring up about his expression. I think that's part of him being very zen about it, being detached from it. It is sad, but he also understands that there is a cycle of life and things happen. That's just my explanation of it. Evil Rowanite. I don't think Luffy will ever become the strongest character. Every single villain from now on will be physically above him, but beaten via strategy and will. No need for time skips. Agreed. James Carroll. Additionally, are we going to get a Green Bull reveal as well soon? Green Bull. I'm sorry, maybe there's an autocomplete problem, or I'm not putting two things together. I don't know what you mean by Green Bull there. I apologize, dude. Big Dog. Is it bad that the editors give out details like we will go to Wano this year? Do you think it's counterproductive to the current art and expectations of readers? Okay, this is important, and you should spread this to everybody. The editors did not say we will go to Wano this year. That was Oda. Oda said we're going to Wano this year. Oda said at last Jump Festa, we are going to do in this year, we're going to finish Whole Cake Island, we're going to go to Reverie, and we're going to do Wano. Oda said that. So it's not the editors. I don't think it's bad that they do anything. It's people are like, oh man, they're giving out details. No, they're trying to get you excited. That's their job, literally, is to get people excited about the series. And if it doesn't work out, everybody wins because One Piece is just longer. The only reason we don't win is if it's longer and sucks. And that has happened in the past, but it's not happening right now. Luca Verstick, is your first time reading One Piece chapter the official release, or do you have to read it earlier because of your job like Steven does? By official release, you mean, I guess, chapter of Jump. I talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. I do not discuss how I read One Piece, but I do not read scanlations. That's all I'm willing to say. And the production team is fine about how I read One Piece. They are aware of how I read One Piece. They know, and there are no problems with how I read One Piece. That's all I can really say about that. Just because it's unfair to say anything else. Thomas Myers, what do you think of Momonosuke theory that if he's based on Momotaro and the bird monkey, blah, 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 was that Oda's inspiration? Thomas Myers, that was originally my theory, and at least as far as I know, and I am sticking with that theory. I like that theory very much. Dalcor, if the Straw Hats ever do meet Vegapunk, I think I actually, Thomas, just going up, I think I discussed that on one of these as well. But yes. Dalcor, if the Straw Hats ever do meet Vegapunk, I don't think Luffy would say too much to him. Robin and Frankie would do most of the talking. Also, Vegapunk and the Revolutionary Army, possibly. Straw Hats ever do say too much to him. Robin and Frankie would do most of the talking. Vegapunk is prime territory for being in the Revolutionary Army. I do believe that he is. I mean, he freaking programmed all that cool stuff into Kuma. So yeah, I think he's definitely on the side of good. Ken Kenneth from Connecticut, do you think there's a possibility of Luffy going to Reverie through a mirror in the Mirror World? Didn't her ability only extend to like Whole Cake Island? And I think that might be retconned a little bit. I don't know if it retconned or expanded upon. It might be like a radius thing with her. Like it only works in such radius. He meant Green Bull. Oh, Green Bull. Yeah. Okay. Very good, Abdullah. Nicely picked up. Yeah. Do you think what was the question? James, do you think you're getting Green Bull reveal as well soon? It makes sense for Green Bull to show up soon. I mean, like, how much longer can he milk that, right? Jay Thacker, guys at One Piece Podcast said Oda foreshadowing or teasing events that would happen 2 arcs from now at the end of the current arc. Any ideas? What can we expect at the end of Whole Cake Island? Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Oda foreshadowing or teasing events. Yeah, I think I said that. It's when he shows you, when you go to an end of an arc, he's not hyping. He's helping the story move along, progress to the next arc. But he's also showing you, something that's going to happen in the next arc. He's setting it up for you, so you have 2 things to think about. That's why it's so good to theorize about One Piece, is because you have something to think about. What is going to happen in the next arc, and then how is that arc going to affect the next arc? And that's what makes it fun, at least for me. Apologies if you already discussed this, but what do you think about the Fisherman Pirate's role being the rest of Whole Cake Island? I believe, and I was laughed at for this, but I believe that when Chopper said that he saw fishermen possibly fishing. I believe that they were gathering sea beasts or fish. Could be fish, big fish, small fish, I don't know. But I believe they were gathering a school of something, and that they are going to tow the Sunny along, because it's going to be ridiculous if Big Mom gets Parmenius? Zeus. It's going to be ridiculous if Mom gets a hold of Zeus and they don't have like super speed. Their paddle wheel ability will just not work and get them far enough away fast enough. So I think that they need the Fisherman Pirates to help them with that. And it just makes sense. Is he being revealed at Reverie? Sorry, sleeping with girls next to me. Green Bull at Reverie. It makes sense. I guess. I mean, he might have. He's not necessarily. He's hired by the world government, but he's not required to be there. But there might be a fact that like an admiral must be there or something, right? Or maybe all three admirals must be there. We just don't know yet. But it's an area of the story that certainly makes sense for that. Logical sense for that progression. Do you think the Straw Hat Grand Fleet? Are we getting down here? Oh my God! It's the last question. I'm going to cut it at this. Yes. Okay. I'm going to cut it at the questions here. Sorry, man. Luca Versick, do you think the Straw Hat Grand Fleet will show up at Reverie and then the big event that Oda foreshadowed at the end of Dressrosa? Let's see. I discussed last time, and I'm sorry to keep bringing. I just want to preface things for people who have already watched this, so if they need to, peace out and get out. But that's why I'm saying I discussed this last time, or this time, or that time. I went into detail on why the big question mark in my head right now is whether Luffy will be attending the Reverie or not. We know that the Vinsmokes kind of want to go, right? So that's definitely one route for Luffy to go. But the poor thing about that decision from a storytelling point of view would be it would be a move backwards, a physical move backwards, and that's not Oda. It has happened. It has totally happened in the story. I mean, we've had multi-directional movements, but I don't know if he wants to move that far back. Why? Because it detracts from the progress. We worked this hard to get this far. We got here because of effort. We got to Dressrosa because of all the trials and tribulations that we've gone through. Oh, but let's go back. Now, I'm not saying this is Luffy's opinion. Luffy will go anywhere to help out anyone that needs helping out that he considers a friend. That's not his opinion. I'm saying Oda's opinion of his story, of the flow of his story. So, if you have that movement backwards, it detracts from all the effort that it took to get there. Like I said, it's not impossible. He could do it. But I don't know if he wants to take Luffy there that way. Unless they have some like really easy way to get there. But then what purpose does it serve? I'll answer my own question. We could finally get some development on that I forget her name. I'm terrible with Tenryubito names because they just have ridiculous names. The female who's shaking her, I'll get you, Luffy. I swear to God, I'll chase you to hell. That celestial dragon lady. Charlos's sister, I think. We could get some development on that end. I mean, I would love to see Luffy ransacking the kings of the world. That'd be great. And obviously a reunion with Vivi would be wonderful. But I don't know if he wants to A, move back, and B, take up that much time in the story. Because if he wants to do that, he needs to make up a good explanation for why Luffy can move back and forth like that. And I don't know if he wants to spend that much time explaining it. We could totally be heading there next week, for all I know. But those are just my thoughts on it. Anyway, whether Luffy goes or not will probably largely define how long the Reverie is. Because we don't even know how long. It's like, if Luffy's not there, I see it being no longer than 4 chapters. 4 chapters is fine. It's a lot of information. A lot of information. 4 chapters, jeez. But if he's, I don't even know if that much. I don't even want to say that much. I want to say 3 maybe. But if he's not, if he doesn't end up going, I don't know. Well, Reverie makes a perfect segue series. Like what do we do? Here. All right, chapter 700. After 700, you got all these things going on with what the Straw Hats are doing around the world, how those are being viewed. Oh, maybe this isn't the best example. Yeah, that was a terrible example. No, there's Straw Hat stuff in here, but yeah, basically an expansion of this. There is Straw Hat stuff in chapter 700, but I mean, what if we have a full chapter of stuff going around the world? And there have been chapters like this in the past. I think in that very section as well, but I forget what I'm talking about now. I'm rambling. But if Luffy does not go, I see it being a very concise story told from Vivi's point of view. If he does go, then maybe it's a mini arc. Maybe it's a cooldown arc. I'm cool with that, but I don't think Oda wants that movement for his characters. And that's all I have to say about that. All right. So sorry guys, I cut off the question at Luke, the question asking at Lucas, just because I'm probably going to start to record my next video. Yay! So I'm probably going to get into that. I enjoyed talking with all you again, and hope to see you back here. If you haven't seen my videos, you haven't read my work, check it out. If you don't follow me on Twitter, and I can't imagine you don't, please do, at Ochimushi108. I'll put that up here. Let's see. Tippy tappy tippy. And there is that's my Twitter and my YouTube. OnePiece.com/special Greg. And that's my those where you can find my articles. Oh no, Greg's articles aren't in English. Just click on one. There'll be an English button right there. Just click on it and you'll see it all in English. All right. Thanks, guys. This was great. Sorry I couldn't get to those questions at the end, but it was a pleasure talking with you all again, and hopefully see you back here sooner rather than later. I hope you enjoy the next video when that's out. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.